think, continue to work on.
Live streaming is on.
Okay.
To work.
Yeah. So let's check it out. And usability wise, there are like really good services and there are bad services. Lots of services, like more services than I expected, use some gamification mechanics, and almost none of them so far are like connected to DAOs anyhow, except of maybe like this DAO house. But most of them, I think they allow using the multi-sig, like any address that you can send to. Possibly it can be maybe even Aragon DAO donation address. So maybe it's not direct connection, but at least somehow they allow it. So those are my outtakes. Any other like insights, ideas anybody got from this activity so far?
I mean, I can just at least talk about the two I reviewed. Aragon's project app, which I was really excited to check out, really is horrible. It's basically you can create a GitHub issue using a DAO, which is kind of cool. They like integrate it into GitHub, but then after that, it's just like way too many transactions and way too many voting things, and it doesn't show anything on GitHub, and it only works for GitHub. To put bounties on GitHub issues, basically. But all the bounty action happens in the DAO. They don't have like a bot on GitHub that makes any kind of audit trail in the issue itself. So really bad. The other one that I checked out is actually really good. Probably the closest thing to Giveth without blockchain out there, and what we're going for, Open Collective. I did not know, or at least they've reframed it now, that you can open a collective on their platform so that you can have a transparent organization where basically they hold all the money for you and take a little bit of a cut out of everything that you do, but then you can use their platform as like accounting software. And it's very much like Giveth, but in the fiat world. They don't take crypto. I actually tweeted about that. They're looking for a way to take crypto, but no one will give them a payment processor. So that's kind of too bad. But yeah, it was actually, I was blown away by Open Collective. It was really really easy and really good. The other ones that I know of, I'll say like closest one to us is probably Crypto Unlocked, because at least they have like a escrow service, and also Gitcoin Grants. Both of them I think work pretty well, and Gitcoin Grants have a lot of movement, probably has more money going through it than Giveth did. At this point, it's probably caught up. The rest of them are pretty small and don't have a lot of money flowing through them, if any. So, and most of them aren't really that interesting, although we can probably learn something from them. Does anyone else want to take it on?
I have a question. Is Gitcoin Grants like recipient focused or a donor focused thing? Is it collecting money from donors, or is it just dispersing grant money to applicants?
No, it's mostly take money from donors, but it also has this, I think that they have not so long implemented this feature that they have CLR right now. And they also do it right now. And there was the third round of CLR closed, and now the fourth round is opened. I think that every CLR is about 100K.
Well, you know the CLR mechanic? Or should I explain? All right.
I think we're mostly aware of it.
Okay.
I wanted to know is because Giveth is missing, and it would have been interesting to. I like also the category Griff has used. And
I added. I also recognize that and add Giveth as the second line. So I will review that as well. That's a good point.
yeah, you kind of put your name there.
Or if anybody else wants to review Giveth, I am okay also passing it to somebody.
I would be very biased.
Yeah. That's why.
Usability. And
I use Giveth as a like fundy kinda for some time, so I have some experience to reflect on. I also added a point that there is no project combining crypto and fiat. It's either crypto or fiat, as it seems, and almost no. At least with the within crypto services, there is like really weak connection with the communities. So, for example, on Gitcoin grants, I can see who donated to me, but there is no easy way to push them some updates or something. And I think it's pretty important to keep in touch with people who support you. And also, like, I tried to create a recurrent transaction on Gitcoin, but it failed twice. So I don't even know. And also it's quite expensive. I think every time it was like $3 to $5 to just launch the contract or something. And yeah, it's quite strange. Not a really pleasant experience to just lose $10 trying to donate $10.
By the way, have you checked the current system?
Yeah. I checked it today. It's not shown anywhere that it's not even shown as failed.
That's weird.
Yeah. Also, 2 services were down, like from this list. One is up. The Spring We Trust was down yesterday. It's okay today now, but Claros as well didn't load for me. So
wow.
yeah.
Yeah, also Bitcoin grants is in alpha right now, so if you wanna make some request for grant or something, you need to pass the validation. It's not open for everyone.
Yeah, right.
But still, I think that it's the biggest market right now. Like it's 700K or almost 800K.
Oh wow, it's only 700K?
Yeah, it's written on their main page that it's almost 800 page via Gitcoin grants. It's not Gitcoin isn't included in these numbers.
Oh yeah. Damn it. Yeah. Probably through Gitcoin they've pushed more than that.
Yeah, I'm sure in that, but through Gitcoin grants, yeah, it's only 719.
Well, if you guys ever need to create a grant, I have the power.
Cool. Also, most of the services, at least crypto services, have open sourced up, or at least contracts, though it doesn't look like there's a lot of activity around that people copy that or something. I'm not sure. To my I haven't expected that most services would receive good grades. I thought that we are in this position where usability is a problem, but still, at least 4 services or 5 services got 7, 8, or even 9 grade. So, and even 110. And also most of them accept Ethereum, maybe because it's easier to just make Ethereum. And it looks like only like 3 services try to support any ERC20.
That's a good point. Well, Gitcoin supports DAI for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Bounties, yeah.
Okay. So I think we will finish the services.
Did anyone else have any comments on the project that they looked at? Any or any other? Sounds like the main things that we can be differentiate through is escrow. There's only one that does escrow, really, right? And then also the connecting communities together, like notifications and invitations. Was there, and I guess DAOs, because no one else is doing DAOs either. Was there any other category that we can use as a differentiator?
So funny enough, this is always undersold because you said many technical things here, like even economical things that most of the people won't think about, like, oh, what's the escrow service you used, sir? But crowdfunding actually is a big thing. And it's not because Gitcoin grants is, of course, that. But, I don't know if they write it down like this. I think there is the most success lies like in the traditional stuff like Kickstarter, Indiegogo. They really made these big platforms, and they made the word big. And I'm just surprised that even though Giveth started as this point going into that direction, that we never mention it so much anymore. But it's definitely one of the things that still raises it out of this crowd. That you can run campaigns, even that you have, like this campaign structure, and
So being sort of a having it be an organizational structure. Is that what you mean?
I mean, for the user, what the user can do is they can run crowdfunding campaigns on Giveth in a way. Like I've been through an Indiegogo campaign in the past. It was horrible, and they took so much money. It was one of the motivators for me to join Giveth, and I always kept looking at this. Like it's basically the same. Except that we don't have this culture of like these extra things, and then if at this level you get this extra thing, and that's one mechanic that's not there. But I would argue it's not a mechanic of crowdfunding; it's just gamification of
Yeah.
I think that's a really important point because those are so donor experience focused, and like that's what we've resolved we want to focus on and Giveth 2.0, right? And like that's really what, like, I mean, GoFundMe and Kickstarter and Indiegogo were basically like fundraise 2.0. Like they were the new, like the new way of fundraising that was so easy and available. Like you just see a link on Facebook that's clickbait, and then there you go, the money's left your wallet basically. So I don't know, I think it's definitely worth reviewing those if attention hasn't been given to them already.
There is another thing that was problematic, and it's still, I haven't checked the latest update, but the fact that no direct donation was possible to a campaign is kind of like beating the idea of the crowdfunding thing, because people need to have a user, which is, it's just an additional friction.
What do you mean exactly, Pat? Like no donation on Giveth?
Yeah, I mean, people who use MetaMask all the time, for them it's fine, but yeah, we have lots of issues there for how people actually can interact. So I think that's a combination that we would good at solving these problems. Like, how can we incentivize more? Maybe this like step-based thing is something to think about. Like, if we reach this amount, this will happen. If we reach this amount, this will happen. Mechanics, and we're already working on, or it's strong in our mind that we want to have better UX concerning the how does money get into the system.
Yeah.
I like this point as well. I've seen that.
We're really
You
close.
can,
We're really close to having the address up. In fact, you can do it now. Like, we've had donations go through a direct send to an address. It's just on develop still.
Yeah, next step ENS, and then you have really easy recipients for.
Yep. And by the way, just FYI, we own campaign milestone.f, campaign.f, we have give.f, giv.f, and giveth.f, and a bunch of other, like as many as I could score that ENS domains that are somewhat near this topic.
Awesome. I have another, what might be a distinguishing factor, or at least an observation, when I looked at Spring from We Trust. And anecdotally, I had noticed this before when I look at these other systems, but it was stated right on theirs that they were the world's first. And I see that being stated, that this being first to deliver something seems to be something that folks want to brag about. And I don't know, I feel like Giveth has a bit of a corner on that market for having the longest experience or having been the first to reach certain milestones with use of the application. But I just thought it was a little funny when I looked on there and it said that they were the world's first charitable crypto charitable donation application. So whatever criteria they're using for that, I think it would be worth looking at where Giveth actually stands on that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're the first on Ethereum, but BitGive is probably the first. And that should probably have been on our list too. BitGive, see what they're up to.
any other insights? Okay, then I think we can continue to the next. Like, let's finish this list till the next call. Do maximum we can, and I think we can do it easily because how many left? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So less than half that we already did. So hopefully we will finish. Then can discuss maybe an article that makes sense, or maybe we'll get more insights that we can build on. But so far, already a really great work. Thanks for everybody who participated. I think we can move to the Greece point on potential customers and some info from Laura as well.
Yeah. So my big question is, and maybe it's something I wouldn't mind a little bit of brainstorming, but there's like a few potential customers that we have identified. So number 1, Common Stack. Number 2, UNICEF. And when I say potential customers, I mean people that will pay us to build this platform, either for them or for someone else. Maybe it'd be cool to just brainstorm groups that would, like, before diving into the details of these guys. Does anyone have any ideas on who else would be willing to pay us to build this? Maybe Aragon as a proposal engine for DAOs?
We're looking from the founder perspective, from the person who wants to, like, from the entity who would like to donate funds or what?
or invest
Yeah.
in such a platform?
Yeah, as a funder perspective. So maybe Moloch as well.
But who do you mean by Moloch?
Well, by Moloch, I mean the Moloch DAO.
Like they would give us a grant to build this.
Yeah, so maybe we, or at least some money to make it functional for Moloch. Because, like, they don't have an escrow system.
Okay.
Like, they just send money out, and then they have to hope that it works out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know there was like, there's probably lots of spaces like the Ethereum Foundation could use something like that.
I mean, there are so many. Basically, all communities that need some sort of funding that wanted to have transparent, or at least everybody I was talking to, Liminal Village, now Parallel Polis, basically everyone who is in some community and deals with the management of funds. Always the same question: how do we, as a community, and so on. So, like, all of the above and many, many more.
What about those more traditional like crowdfunding platforms that have expressed wanting to have a crypto portal, but like not being able to, not having that yet?
So, like, Open Collective, you mean? Or
Yeah, Open Collective. I mean, or like if we're going lunar here, it's like anyone could be on this list, right? Like maybe GoFundMe wants to have crypto donations be a possibility.
It's a good idea to review at least.
At least we know they have money.
What about Spiral?
in Spiral?
I mean, yeah, if we are in the lunar phase, and like, who could be interested?
Yeah. I think it's a lunar task.
I mean, and ideally, though, they have money that they would give, right? Like, that's it. Or they have like direct need.
It's an interesting approach. Who's doing fiat that wants crypto that is open source, that we have advantage we bring to them, and they have advantage they bring to us.
Let's see. The ECF has an active project right now that they're trying to push. That's basically building Giveth.
Interesting.
I'll find the link and put it in.
So, Humanity Token got funded with quite some money, and they want to develop now on Ethereum the same thing we had before on Decent for the Humanity Token. It's a closed token economy. If Giveth or if some contracts work with overlap, they would for sure fund that.
Maybe also, I don't know much about the UNICEF needs. Maybe Laura can share some info on that. What are they looking to do?
Yeah. So the UNICEF Innovation Fund is looking for tech companies that are like innovating in the fields of like blockchain, AI, VR, machine learning, like these very like hot button tech innovative fields that we have right now, who propose a solution that will like impact the lives of children in one of their program countries. So a lot of these are countries that are considered to be more third world, and it's for companies. It's not for nonprofits. So we are partnering with Libre, which has an app that makes it easy to like easy to manage fund collection in more accessible ways to Mexican people. Like they can go to their like local convenience store and put money in there that ends up going to like either donate to the charity they're trying to donate, or they also have like some of their services are for like paying bills for your apartment building and such. Anyways, they have like more accessible ways of like fund collection and fund management. And like one of those, they want to develop a crypto portal, and so that's where we come in, and we're using this opportunity of the UNICEF grant, which is for up to $100,000, to sort of build a bridge between the Giveth DApp and what Libre has already built. They have an app called Quota that probably will be our main interface. And so, yeah, we applied in the summer and made it to like whatever shortlist that we're at now. And the second stage of the application is due this Sunday. And basically the angle that we're going with it is building Giveth 2.0. And we've been laying out all these different technical milestones for what we would try to achieve with this grant, which lasts for a 12-month period. And we're focusing mostly on just like the redesigns that Giveth needs, and also creating like bridges for Giveth 2.0 to communicate with Libre, and talking about integrating our DAI so that people can have donations that are they're only donating the interest on their DAI rather than donating the money that they originally had. Yeah, I don't know what more to Griff. Do you want to like say anything or ask anything specific? I'm not sure all I should share right now.
I guess the other important pieces are you nailed it mostly with like what it is, and integration with our DAI I thought is interesting, needs to be in there. But also just the timeline that this grant is due on like Sunday, and that we would know if we get it in probably like January or February, right?
Yeah, probably like the end of February
is when we know if we get it. We wouldn't know anything before that.
There will be one more shortlisting where so we'll know. We might find out that we didn't get it in January, I guess. But honestly, I don't know. I don't think we could really say anything definitive until February. And then they do expect you to start work pretty much right away as soon as the grant is awarded. So I'm guessing we won't hear much from them until like the last week of February or maybe even into March, and then they'll be like, we want to give you a contract. Okay, let's sign the contract. Okay, you got everybody hired, right? Start working now.
Yeah. The big piece with that UNICEF Innovation Fund is that the 100K has to go to Mexico and people who are Mexican, basically. So it would go through Alibre, and it would pay Alibre people to do dev work for us, and it would only in some ways help our effort, but it wouldn't fund anybody outside of the devs in Alibre. So we would probably hire a couple of people, and the nice thing about Alibre is if anyone ever wants to go to Mexico, they have a free place to stay. So it's kind of like a Giveth office, except bigger, and yeah, and in a really sweet spot in Tijuana. So yeah.
Okay.
I guess I can give the detail. Any questions on UNICEF that anyone has, just like as an update?
So far, I understood that this is something that's not needing any work now, and also we won't like until February we won't know the result, and even after it won't affect much the development, right?
I think it needs a lot of work right now, this week, because we are filling out the forms, and it will affect our development in that if we have this 100K, then we would funnel our dev work through Tijuana, in which we already have. Our main dev is in Tijuana, and so we would just kind of double down on the devs in that office. Okay, so then Common Stack, I'll just give a quick one on the Common Stack. So the goal of the Common Stack is to integrate Giveth 2.0 into, make it become a proposal engine for various commons that can be deployed using the Common Stack tooling. And they would pay us about 250K to make it meet the specifications that they require. Basically, the token bonding curve, the payouts would be in XDAI or DAI, or it depends on the implementation details, but it'd be in some stable coin that would be held in escrow, but then that stable coin would have to go back to the bonding curve, and tokens would be actually sent to the people. So there's kind of a lot of UX work that would need to be done to make that flow really well, and some interesting smart contract work as well. But for that, they would basically give us give us $250,000 to kick that off in as quickly as possible. Like 8 months would be like the long term. Like it would be the most it could take. Like ideally, it only takes about 3 or 4 months to implement. And then after that, we would get 10K a month for maintenance and improvements according to their justifications. It would be a milestone-based thing on Giveth, and it would be run by me and Lorelei and Zargum and the crew. So it should be pretty easy to work with them. Us. Yeah, and Matt obviously too. Yeah.
How's the race going? Any updates?
Working on the white paper. Reinzer's down to throw down. We have a few other. I think we're about to hit our iteration 0 min cap. We have I think we have 4 people on the line that want to give us donations. So that's pretty cool. But nothing. We're not pushing the donations part yet. We're really buckling down on the white paper, and that is something that I want to talk to you about, Max, very soon, because I'm hoping that you can help me write the addendum 2 part of the white paper that says what basically what the Giveth DApp would be to the common stack and make like a proposal.
Sure. Would love to help with that. Okay. Should we move forward?
Yeah.
Through like when we look at this potential funders, do we have any preference to like who's our best customer here? Maybe in connection with the market size or our current features fit. Any ideas around that? Maybe then if I ask like probably the market of like fiat donations is like I don't know how many, like 1,000x or even more bigger than crypto donations. How do we feel about that?
Wait, what? I don't understand the question.
Come again?
I don't understand the question.
So we have outlined like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like around like 12 different potential customers.
Uh-huh.
They all represent different like market sizes. So like I don't know, Open Collective is like around 1 million, right? Ecosystem funds maybe bigger. Community in general is super big, but also a lot of competition there. Currently, we're mostly talking about the crypto, but it looks like market is crowded with competitors. Maybe more will come. Do we want to strategically place ourselves in the crypto market, or are we looking at any other markets? What we can say about what markets we should target? Any ideas?
Oh, I see.
I have an idea. So I know one of the things like with UNICEF has been bringing up is that we're looking at when we have crypto donations, how to get them out in local currency. I feel like there is an interesting market segment to look at of people who have fiat and want to get into crypto. So like I think about with the common stack and how you have tokens at that point. So people who have fiat and want to end up holding some tokens or crypto as a result of donating. That makes sense?
Mm. Yeah, for sure.
Danny, are you talking about going into the realms of like providing like crypto acquisition as part of Giveth 2.0?
Is that what it sounded like?
That's what it sounded like to me.
What does that trigger for you when you hear that?
It's something that came up earlier today in talks about like the grant proposal for what we can do with this solution, because we're giving people the other direction, making it easy for donors with crypto to turn it into pesos for doctors. But I generally think that that's like
Out of scope?
Yes, it sounds super complex to me, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what it takes to like incorporate some sort of like buying crypto with fiat platform into your.
It takes lawyers, so it takes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I wondered. I was looking at your face, Griff, going, I know there's something popping up in your mind. So legality is what that is.
Yeah, and like I actually think, and you got to pick a jurisdiction, right? You have to pick a thing, and if you want to go global, you have to have like a lot of relationships with a lot of different payment service providers, and it gets a little complicated. It's definitely not it's definitely a route that eventually, if this platform is to scale, it will probably would want to take, at least go in one direction or the other. But it would really, I think it would be more of a plug-in thing than like we're managing it thing, like putting a Coinbase button or putting a Libre button, or like if like, oh, do you want your payout in this, or do you want to donate in this? I mean, I think there is a use case for people who want to use fiat to then maybe like RDI would be a good example of something. You just can't do that very easily with fiat, where you can like, instead of donating directly, you donate $1,000, and then but that you're not donating, you just put that $1,000 in RDI, and then the $1,000 gains interest, and you don't lose any money. You just holding your $1,000 there, and then when you want the $1,000 back, you just push a button and you get the $1,000 back. Maybe it has to be held there for like a certain amount of time to pay for the fees, so you actually get $1,000 back, right? And don't even have to pay any fees. But I think that it's like those kinds of use cases that may be possible with Giveth and blockchain that will not be possible in fiat.
Are there on-ramp collaborators? Like when you said it would be a plug-in thing, are there entities out there that would that be an exchange basically?
Yeah, Coinbase has buttons, BitPay, Coin Payments. There's like the individual exchange for every country, like in any country that would want to play that game. So like different countries have different players, and we just have to go find them all.
And then find their corporate good department to find out if they want to fund it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Biddy does Europe and Switzerland. Pretty much almost every country in Europe, and we're good friends with them. So, and they could integrate. In fact, they have an API that's pretty cool that you can just call. And for under $5,000, you don't have to do any KYC.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my idea.
I also found some interesting analytics. It's based on the 2017, but I think most of it is relevant as well to now. So the charitable, like the funds donated, were always growing, except of the crisis years, it seems. And the biggest, like most donations come from the individuals. 70% come from individuals.
What is this for exactly?
For all the donations in the world.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. There is some given by request. I'm not sure what does that mean, but it's accounts for 10%, almost 9% of all donations. Foundations give 16% of all donations. Corporations give 5% of all donations. And mostly people donate to education and human services. By human services, they mean things like children family services, food banks, homeless services, rescue missions, shelters, and so on. Some donations go to foundations, health, public social benefits, and so on. I've put the link to the document as well, just for us to know like which markets we want to target.
I mentioned Humanity Token before, and like I said, it's what we're doing with this project is really going to the charities and managing for them a way so they can accept fiat and on their platform have tokens that represented fiat, so you can track the spending inside the organization. And I just looked up the next one in line is the biggest one for the country. Next one in line, I mean, is interested and wants an implementation. And in Austria, that was 600 million euro. And it's a small country, right? So if we, like I said, the Humanity Token just got funding and they are convicted to build out something because we already have clients and everything. We are really missing developers, integrators, that kind of thing, like what makes sense. How it would be nice to make it very embeddable in the end, make something that entities like Giveth could integrate with. So I'm just saying this is a very good opportunity, probably, which will also open early next year. We start.
Are they doing it on their specific chain though?
No, we are currently reviewing chains. I'm very much advocating for. Yeah, and don't get Igor to again. You don't get to catch Igor because, to be honest, I would like to have. I still want to push my charity chain idea to have like a POA validated chain that is for charities, that has no transaction fee, that has only like you have to validate your contracts by a person or committee or something, that kind of stuff. And so in absence of that, I still imagine like POA is interesting, and so I will always push because of scaling. I'm basically pushing Ethereum, but because of scaling issues, I'm pushing POA. But there are chains in the
like XDAI or POA like POA?
Usually when I say POA, I mean XDAI, but I don't know. As a, we're sitting in Austria. It's euro. XDAI is not making so much sense. We're thinking about all these things, and we start design on the next system in December in earnest. And yeah, I don't want to go too long with this. Just saying, like the traditional charity market, like really traditional. I'm talking about like almost state institutions, like being around for a long time, and really doing social services, like caring for old people or orphans, that kind of stuff. That we like, yeah. I'm working on another project like this, and I'll keep feeding back and forth. But it's a good point in time that we want to restructure Giveth 2 and also day one, contract development on Ethereum Pro.
Do they know what they want exactly?
Yeah, we know our old system, and it's like always there are many possibilities, but if we stay true with the plan, we would just try to copy the old system, which is something that's open sourced on Decent even. So we have code, we have the plan or the blueprints. Yeah. Cool. But it would definitely, so what is not there is something like a crowdfunding thing or something like to make a donation run in crypto. It's what we do with Humanity Token is taking fiat, and actually the charity themselves, they become the escrow, they mint tokens for the fiat, they let those tokens circulate, and then they can spend the fiat because they account for it internally.
Hey guys, it's bedtime for me, so I'm gonna drop off. But thank you all, and feel free to reach out to me about any questions with the UNICEF stuff.
Thank you, Loi. Have a good one. Griff, and have you have you taken any steps into like looking into like building own gateway like fiat to crypto? If we would somehow maybe limit the amount of transaction or the size of the transaction, or maybe even enable KYC. Have you looked into this direction anyhow?
I mean, I've looked into it for the last mile, but not so much for onboarding people, like as in if people want to use fiat to buy crypto and then donate it. I haven't looked into that at all, really.
Because like as I see it, for example, like I don't know, we have for example this like Indigo for FestDAO, like you want to launch events through the world, right? And you want the funds to be like transparent and distributed, and usually like people can get like DAI or Ethereum in their country and decide how they want to go with them, either save and use own money, or like just like store them, or maybe they know how to where to exchange it. But the only way for now is to fund this like DAO or campaign with Ethereum, as far as I understand. But if we want to get, I don't know, some sponsors, being like regular companies or like users or like any like individuals that are not crypto users, they won't be able to participate in that, like unless they go and buy crypto and stuff like that. So maybe I'm thinking like if we think about the funders, like maybe they don't want to even manage their crypto, but maybe they want to manage to participate in this transparent DAO distribution system, even without like storing on crypto, but they can, I don't know, pay with card and sponsor this and that.
Yeah, man. I do think that the reporting of the whole thing, the tracking of amounts through a system is the real value here. And we've heard that countless times from many bodies that this was a very important thing. Like you cannot be transparent without it, actually.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where we'd have to then pick a jurisdiction to do the pilot practice with, and there's always the compliance that we'd have to play with. That makes it a little difficult. I think it is, of course, an option to go that route. I would probably want to ask Gitcoin and WeTrust and all these other groups that are doing this why they haven't integrated fiat to crypto or crypto to fiat on their platform, and just like confirm the theory that it's probably like a lot harder to deal with the compliance issues, a lot more work than it's worth is my guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. But I mean, I don't know why you would think that Gitcoin, for instance, would want to be able to allow people to use PayPal to fund GitHub issues, right? Like that doesn't seem like that much of a stretch, and it opens up the whole market for them. And I have to think it's on their roadmap even, but like.
I'm gonna be speaking with WeTrust guy next week. I can check with him.
George?
Not that Patrick, I think.
Patrick, cool.
Yeah, so I'll write it down.
I could send Owaki a message. Or maybe I'll message Scott actually instead.
And we could build a story around that if we at least, if we at least describe our intent. So currently, if you donate to Kickstarter or maybe this Open Collective, you don't you don't usually see how funds are used, right? And
No, Open Collective, you have very traceable donations.
yeah, but I mean, if
So
you
you can see how the funds are used, but you can't see where your money exactly went. They just show you like this is what they spent all the money on.
they do like just reporting on like how they used like 5K from the last month or something.
Yeah, like I can even, yeah, I guess I could share my screen, but I have it open right here. But you can,
Yeah,
you
please
can,
share. Yeah, I also think we like I just saw Bowen's message. Totally partnering makes more sense than but building our own solution.
let's see, where is it? I actually even took a screenshot because it was like, oh wow, you can see what their salaries are.
Mm.
In fact, maybe I'll go.
And do they do escrow or they just send
No,
the money?
yeah, they just pay the money. I mean, the thing I can't see is how people are, what the organization is doing, right? But so like, here's the budget, and you can see this. They got lunch with somebody, and it was $29. And you can also see like you can also see how much each person gets paid, right? Like, so you got 83,000 for a month,
Mm.
and this person gets that much, and what it's for. It doesn't have quite as many details as we do, but
I see. And do they make the request for each payout? So they say tell them like I need to like pay this person, and how does it work now?
it looks like it. So like this is the thing that I can't necessarily see what it's like to be. Oh, looks like you can submit an expense, but I can't see exactly what how they approve. I did see that some things get rejected. Like you can so there must be some sort of governance mechanism here that they're using because I mean this was rejected because it's I looked it up and it was like it was rejected because he got paid in a different way.
I see.
Moved his to engineering or something.
I also see like in one of the screens there was written like fiscal like partner, meaning and a Open Collective was this fiscal partner, meaning that when you send money, you send them to the Open Collective registered company.
Yes, exactly.
As it
So
seems, and then they.
yes, exactly. So for any collective, they say you have to have a fiscal partner, and they will be your fiscal partner, as in they'll hold the money. Or if you're just an open source project and you don't have a legal entity, you can either be like just a normal person and be the fiscal entity, right? The fiscal partner or whatever, or you can be or you can have a company who will do it. And then that company actually, or that person can actually charge a fee for doing all of that.
Yeah, for the operations, accounting, and so on, taxes probably. Okay. What is missing? Like, if we would say, like, okay, there is, like, Open Collective works mostly towards the open source projects, right?
Yeah, 100% for open source projects. There's no other options. Very small scope. They also do not have escrow. They do not connect donors very well to the groups that are working on the project, although they kind of can connect it through GitHub, right? So you can kind of just go to their GitHub page and make an issue or comment there and connect, but they don't actively make the connections. There's no like milestone, like you can't donate. You can only, you'd have to make a new collective, right? Like you can make to get donations to a specific thing. Although it looks like they do have these different like type. They have like recurring donations or one-time donations. They have they do have different things where you can sell tickets to events. And various other, like, I saw events and I saw something else. Fiscal host. Oh, here we go. 10 million contributed. Back your stat. So they have,
Yeah, that's
like,
nice.
Oh, you know this one?
Yeah, back your stack makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like some kind of like, basically anytime someone forks their code, you can guilt trip them to submit, you can kind of guilt trip them to donate to you. Which guilt is a major motivator for donations. I'm just going to throw it out there.
So that is just an amazing mechanic to connect donors with the campaigns.
What is?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, going through your stack and automatically showing. I mean, I don't know how the output looks, but
yeah.
So we should actually be here on the Open Collective as well.
What we could use? Can we, for example, see your Telegram groups, and I'll show you the public groups that you're in, that you can, for example, donate to. Or riot groups, I don't know.
What do you mean?
So with back your stack, you log in via GitHub, and it shows you that you will use this 10, for example, open source libraries, and you can donate to them. So it automatically proposes you what you should back. If what we could also think of here, maybe you log in via Telegram account, and it shows you the connected Telegram groups for different organizations like Giveth or Common Stack or something else, and you can also see in which groups you are and what you can fund from where you sit, for example. Or maybe it's I'm just brainstorming how we can use this idea.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can log in with Google account and we can show you friends that are fundraising.
Oh yeah.
For this.
Oh, MetaMask is on Open Collective.
They don't get much, huh?
$100 total. But Chai, Mocha, yes, Links, Babel. Okay, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was thinking about smart contracts, basically the same. You could pop a stack, like, or put an Ethereum address here, like in our case, and it goes through the transaction history, sees what smart contracts have been interacted with, and who the author or community is, and if they have a campaign. In the same vein, but it's all very complicated stuff. To be honest, I think I think the real interesting thing about Giveth is really two things: crypto specific software funding, which we always did, but which probably now goes to Gitcoin more, and still the human side of it all, the self sovereign, run your unstoppable funding campaign to make the world a better place thing is still the most convincing. Like, it's also everything is so virtual, and if we manage to bridge to the physical space to improve something on this planet with, like, that it was incited by some actional computer, that's, I think, the powerful stuff that would get acceleration, because I think that's in the end what you need. I think all those tools are not bad. Giveth is okay. I think if Giveth was open for people to run their own campaigns, they would also run our house in, and we would be one of the most used devs probably. And I still think if we build it, they will come. But we build it now, but we never said, here you go, And we don't know what the next step looks. And there is enough. So this is not a mammoth of a project. We're not talking about millions and millions and millions of funds that are needed anyway. So I think it's all in a very like little frame actually. And I think that we can, we have a very good shot at this if we just arrive at that stage to be able to tell people, hey, come here. And we don't know the network, but yeah, if you can handle MetaMask, you can use it.
Yeah.
The main problem of those
So
projects are with scalability, so they don't scale. All of them are pretty small right now. So even those like Bounty Network, it was launched pretty long ago, but as far as I saw it, it's something around 50K distributed via the platform. So, but it's pretty convenient and clear in how to use it.
Yeah.
well, Bounties.network only had 50K.
Yeah, it's not used much. They integrated Gitcoin bounties, and Bounty Networks looks really great. It has great usability and everything, but not a lot of stuff going through it. So, and I kind of also, from our measurements so far, the whole donation market in crypto, it feels like in total it's less than 2 million. If you take several years or something and give it is almost half of it, right? So if we are not looking into like that we will have 10x adoption next year, I think crypto market would be too small for us. That's why I'm thinking about fiat.
Yeah, I mean, fiat. I'm not excited about fiat personally. Obviously, I don't think it's something we should rule out, but I also don't think it's that much of a differentiator. I really feel like the big differentiator for Giveth can be the blockchain specific incentive mechanisms. So like RDI or Harburger tax or bonding curves, these are mechanisms that can be used to generate funding for public goods or for charity. in unique ways that just can't be done with fiat, and being able to like integrate into that, and also like being able to connect the donors and look for other differentiators is going to put us in a very interesting place where we can really have an impact on the way charity is run. I feel like there's this, and this is maybe a little bit philosophical, but I feel like charity has this really difficult task where donors sacrifice to give money, and then there's like this cultural imposition where everyone else who touches that money also has to sacrifice. You have to be paid less. You have to lose to be part of that system. Otherwise, people will think you're a jackass. Like any CEO who makes their market rate for working in a charity gets lambasted in public. But that's, they're running a 1,000-person organization. Maybe they should be making that much money. But the problem is that money has almost been tainted by altruism, which is just almost a weird thing to say, but it's true. Like that money has now been allocated to a cause, and anywhere where that cause goes, everyone has to sacrifice because it came from sacrifice. Whereas like in a for-profit company, if investors are making money and that's the source of funds, then everyone can be paid a fair wage and be making money down along the line, right? And so there's this like very different system. And with RDI, for instance, no one's losing money. So the interest gained there, even though they're technically, they could have more opportunity and it is a donation, there's not that taint of necessarily altruism or someone of sacrifice, and that's a lot cleaner money to play with. Or like Harburger tax or bonding curves, where incentives are aligned and the participants, it's like free money that can go to a public good and be used without the heaviness. And like I'm really excited about trying to jump into that space and enable this kind of tech to be used. It's a little bit of a rant there, but it's like that's what excites me. It's not fiat. Like just being a donation platform isn't the goal, right? I think the goal here is to innovate and build the future of giving, be something bigger than just making sure people can get money and that we can be sustained,
Yeah, I agree. I'm not telling we need to it's not about like having dollars on your bank account. It's just we need to somehow find the leverage, because RDI is like distributing $200 per month. If they grow 10x, which is hard, they will distribute $2,000 per month, and it's nowhere near like our ambitions. I think. So we need to think about like where we can get this leverage. No,
it's definitely tough. We're building for a proposed future as opposed to the now, right? Like Giveth was ahead of its time in 2016, and we're in 2019, and we're still kind of ahead of its time. So maybe its time will never come. I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean, our DAI that's not fair because it's so new, and now they have to deal with multi-collateral DAI shifting. I think that they will be blowing up here pretty soon, but.
you can also use compound and earn your interest and then donate on your desire. It doesn't provide much of a difference with what we use. And compound is even a bit more I don't know, more stable and more supported.
Well, our DAI is just using compound.
I see.
So
yeah.
they basically just made it like really easy to donate using compound.
Maybe we could integrate with the exchanges, so then maybe we can somehow leverage their funds on the deposits or something.
Yeah, that was something someone always was asking, like if we could just like get an exchange to donate some tiny percentage of their funds, of their like fee. Like if we could find an exchange partner that would then say, hey, like, 1% of all the profits we make off of every trade goes to charity on Giveth transparently, and that you could vote, or you could do a CLR on which charity on Giveth should get the funds.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
there was even a decentralized exchange that wanted to do that with us. Does anyone remember that? Danny or Kai, do you guys remember this decentralized exchange that wanted to do that?
No.
No? I mean, in the end, crypto is like Bounties.network, Gitcoin, Giveth, all these guys have come out during the bear market. And it's just not.
I'm pretty sure that was Binance. Wasn't it Binance? And then when we talked to them, really what they wanted was our code. It sounded like that's what they wanted.
That was one of them. There was another one that was like a small decentralized exchange that started with like F something. Oh, E18R, is that it?
So
No.
I think it would not even be that hard to get such an initiative going once you have campaigns that actually move people. You need to have campaigns that move people. That's how the donation game works. If people. So why is Vitalik saying give directly and not to Giveth? Because there is no possibility to really subsidize the unadvantaged through Giveth at the moment. If we have the software in place and let people come, and people can, or we can provide funds to people who are underprivileged in some way, or to build something sustainable, I think these kind of partnerships would be not such a problem. But then it's always that the money is never going to us. That's kind of the beauty of Giveth, is it's very hard to build this it can never be rent seeking, it always has to be there. And I mean, it's just very cool thing. It's hard to own it in that way that you leech from it. You would just get forked.
I'm feeling we're falling into like free from conversation, which is okay, but also maybe we want to discuss any other questions or specific requests before we end our call today.
Well, we kind of moved to persona story positioning, and I never really understood what the backstory was there, or what the point of that is.
I raised this point because this was our logical next step after we do the competitor analysis. We would need to be able to describe like what Giveth 2.0 would be about, why we build it, and for whom and how and so on. So I thought we would like at least slightly touch it, and we identified few points written down about differentiators and specific use cases. But I also feel that there is no clear angle. Like we need to maybe look into the market numbers. We need to build some hypotheses that we can afterwards discuss and build on. And now we're just, it's not structured. So I thought I would like, as it was my request to discuss it, I would like, I had enough information for now to think over it. If anybody else wants to raise another point or discuss it from the other angle, please tell, and we'll try to approach it.
No, I think the big differentiator is nobody's connecting donors and projects, which is kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Escrow is lightly used.
Mm-hmm.
Crowdfunding is, you know, it's very successful in the fiat world, but there's not very much of it in the crypto side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as you said, crypto plus fiat, I think, is a good one. Low fees and free is always a differentiator. And then, yeah, I see blockchain specific incentive mechanisms and as a differentiator that, but it's more for like, it's more of a differentiator for the fiat ones than like any Gitcoin could have a hardware tax NFT attached to it.
Mhm.
I think also the problem in crypto stuff is that there's not so many crypto donors or investors appearing every day, and everyone who wanted to use some platform probably already used some Gitcoins or Bounty network or whatever. So it's probably a matter how can we say them that hey, our platform is better. Like, so it's all about that. It's not like we will find more crypto donors somewhere outside those platforms right now. Either we need to look at some different personas, or we need to get them all right now.
So I'm hearing that thought and thinking, what blockchain entities are paying people in crypto? Who's actually getting paid in crypto? Because one of the things I remember from my corporate career is as soon as you started making a decent salary, you were asked what causes you wanted to donate a percentage of your salary to. So who's out there getting paid in crypto right now? Like what companies they're paying with crypto? Maybe that's an angle we can be looking at.
MakerDAO definitely pays in crypto.
Yeah, almost like I think most of the companies that raised ICOs, they at least have this option. Maybe they can also pay to the bank account, but I know that they have lots of crypto they can use for payouts, and we can talk with them as well to provide them the corporate responsibility programs.
Well, I'm thinking it directly to the, yeah, I mean, it's nice to go through those companies and set up that program. I'm just remembering what you said about it's the individuals that do the most donating. So how do we reach individuals who are getting paid in crypto and offer them ways to shave a little bit off for us or for whoever they want, obviously.
We can catch them somewhere near the exchange, I think. Because currently, as far as I know, you can't pay for living with crypto. So you need to convert to fiat at some point to pay for the food and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe we can, for example, partner with some exchanges and ask them to like implement some mechanic where people can select the cause they want to donate part of their funds.
And I'm sure some of our competitors are doing that or attempting to do that now. So it's a question of why they want to come with us more than anyone else.
There are which competitors are trying to do what?
I am sure there are many charitable tech people on our list who want to partner with those exchanges and get that button as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no, maybe not.
Yeah.
I haven't seen, but we can ask. We can just like I think crypto is pretty friendly, so we can approach and just simply ask if they got this proposals and what do you think about it.
Yeah, I think I know the Bitso guys. They have the Mexican exchange. Rafa is friends with them, and they ran a charity campaign from Mexico transparent, a completely transparent crypto donation campaign when Mexico City had some earthquakes. And so like they would probably be a very friendly crew. Plus we have the Libre, like Mexican peso connections. So I think that's a pretty good route. I also really like what you said, Danny, with the ICO, like trying to do maybe on the ground, like talk to the MakerDAO guys and get them to like, use Giveth internally or use Giveth 2.0 internally and like have them do some kind of social, like some sort of, I don't want to say peer pressure, but like, have all of a sudden you have like this, by the water cooler, like, hey, are you donating, 3% of your salary to charity too? Like, where are you going to put it? If we make that really easy for the people getting paid in crypto to do, then, they would even also they might want to start campaigns for their favorite projects too and promote those projects within that, the water, by the water cooler kind of thing. Or
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, and that brings us kind of back to those NFTs, the badge. It's like, I'm a dog person, I'm a Africa person, I'm a water warrior, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just wanted to add a little thing real quick. How's it going, guys? I had an idea like sometime around last week of a sort of basically a smart contract system that could be used modularly to automatically tag on sort of the way that we're doing the percentage thing in Giveth, but using it as a plugin for other systems that do transactions that would allow for addition of a preset amount or a percentage to any transaction, sort of in the blind. So you were able to do it all the time and not have to think about it, the same way that banks do roundups for transactions. Maybe not necessarily rounding up, like Taylor said. Well, you don't want to round it up to an ETH because that's a lot of freaking money. and then sort of piggybacked on that idea, and basically I was trying to come up with a justification of going to a hackathon like ETH Denver. Is there a project small enough but also kick ass enough that you could bundle it to like work with somebody or whatever? She had the idea of coming up with a sweeper system that allowed you to clean out the small amounts from all of your spare addresses and or clean out all of the shit coins from any addresses and have them forward to another address or to a place that you wanted to donate them, and trying to address the multiple transaction thing. And I think that both of these small ideas could be used to make even a small amount of donation possible to campaigns or milestones or even us specifically. And I just kind of wanted to toss it out there that's something I'm throwing processor cycles into because I've been thinking about it a lot. And I thought it was somehow related to the funding issue that we were talking about.
Yeah, there was a project that won at Paris that along those lines where they like created like a dump your shit coins and burn it project that you could donate. I don't think they donated to charity though. They were doing something else with them, but
I just thought it might be something to think about, and like I thought a hackathon would be the perfect place to do that.
Yeah.
That's just an additional idea to just generate some extra coin.
Okay, we have plenty of ideas so far. Maybe as a next step, we need to build some hypotheses, but also we also need to focus on finishing the competitor analysis. So maybe we will take it like as these two tasks as the homework, and come to the next meeting with like outline hypothesis we want to check with potential funders. How do you feel about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What did you say about checking with potential funders, though?
I
So
thought
we
I
have
heard having something
outlined
to share with them.
differently. Yeah. So I think we need to, like, I think it should sit in our head, and maybe on the next call, together with the combined competitor analysis results, we can define like 2, 3, 4, 5 hypotheses that we can pitch to potential funders and check if they are like, how do they feel about them. So define the hypothesis. Like, for example, would you like would exchanges like to integrate with us? Would wallets would like to integrate this mechanic with dumping shit coins and so on? Would is community aspect important for donors? So they like join some kind of close community after they donate. So we can outline those potential hypotheses and then go and talk to those people.
Nice, yeah. One thing, so I'm sorry, I just thought of this really quick. On the market size and these projects, like a lot of people are running their own donation campaigns via grants, like Argon Nest, ECF, EF, MakerDAO, and all those guys. And I feel like that should be part of the market size in crypto donations. That is still on the table, even though none of these other platforms have captured it. It is there, and so there is volume.
I see. But why don't they use, for example, Aragon? Because Aragon, for example, allows creating proposals for funding.
What do you mean?
Or DAO stack.
DAO?
Like currently, if you want to get funds from ECF, you fill the Google form or something, right?
Yep.
Maybe it's the reason why they don't want to automate it.
Yeah, and coordinate. I mean, that's the challenge, is that like you have to, if you want funds, like, okay, you fill out a thing from Aragon, maybe you fill out like an Aragon Nest grant, then you fill out something for consensus, then you apply for Gitcoin grants, then you apply for ECF grants, and it would be really nice if those players would be down to work on one platform where they could have their needs met and coordinate together. And why don't they? Sometimes it's easier to just do it yourself, right? Create a type form and then.
I'm feeling weird.
Sorry.
Well, I heard
Yeah,
you say,
sorry.
why
Like,
don't they
I'm feeling we're moving
collaborate
to the
already?
point where
Okay.
There's a delay.
sorry, some connection problems probably.
That's all right. The thing that I'm thinking of is they don't collaborate because they don't have the tools to do that or see what the advantage is. So that would be the niche, is to show why there would be an advantage to these different organizations collaborating to help get more projects off the ground more efficiently.
Все подвисло.
Что у тебя на зарядном стояло 5%?
Да, я сам в шоке.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I mean that was just. I just wanted to make sure that got
Okay.
out there because we're trying
I
to
just
think there's a terrible.
that stuff. Like why we wouldn't do fiat or why fiat isn't maybe so important. Because I hear what you're saying, Max, on the like, okay, we need to look to see where the market is, and clearly the market is not in crypto. But that's, yeah, it's a challenge because fiat will bring about a whole lot of different kind of scope and make it a different kind of project. So it's a little scary.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe it's not fiat, but we need to find like the niche that would be interesting for us. Because if we go like we can totally improve the experience, and I still want to do that. It's just like while we are not into that, maybe we will find some really cool option, that could possibly give us this leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm feeling that maybe like 2 hours call without a break is a bit hard, especially in the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure.
How would you feel if we like make the closing round now and maybe keep it to like 1 hour 30 minutes since then?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. And were there action steps though for this next section? You said just let this call kind of marinate.
We can like first of all we better finish the competitor analysis, and we can also kind of digest the ideas we got today, and to the next call we could come with the ideas we liked and form them as hypotheses, outline hypotheses we have, discuss them, prioritize them, and go check them. But
Okay.
it's all gonna happen on the call. So till the next time, you just need to think about them and think what caught your attention, what was like, what sticked with you. Okay.
Cool.
So then I'll start the closing round. Thanks so much. Appreciate everybody's participation, and like really happy that we have such a great and friendly team. Passing to Stas.
Yeah, that was cool. I just really think that today's call was a little bit messy. I think, yeah, we can align more on questions in future. Yeah. So looking forward to probably building some graphic upon those competitors. Probably we can give some points per each competitor, not only competitor
feature
per each feature, yeah, and build some graphics. Yeah, passing to Danny.
Yeah, appreciate critical feedback on our meetings. Usually everybody's like, yeah, great meeting. We did have a lot to cover and kind of went off into the weeds here and there, but I feel like we got a lot of really good stuff done reviewing the competitor analysis and brainstorming. And I look forward to getting some hypothesis ready for next week. Griff.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the idea of testing hypothesis with potential funders. As this project is definitely dependent on finding funding. So I'm glad that we had a chance to outline a couple of funding opportunities. I think the ECF is also something that is a very strong potential partner, and I didn't really promote it, but I put a link in there that people might want to click and check in this week, just because it's really basically they're trying to build Giveth 1.0. I mean, it's almost hilarious. It's the exact same thing. They want to use liquid pledging. I mean, they straight up are using liquid pledging. So, like, as in status is fork of liquid pledging. So it's pretty exciting to see that, and it kind of gives validation to the theory of Giveth. And I really hope that we can find a way to justify this idea of building well, I mean, I guess we can justify it if the common stack raises money without any issue. Building a proposal engine for DAOs and an integration for new types of public funding, RDI, Harbinger tax bonding curves, also inflation or pre-allocation. But yeah, so otherwise, good call and really fun diving into the weeds, I thought, about like fiat and some of these other things, staying lunar and bringing out some open ideas. I will pass it to Bowen.
Yeah, this is a really fun meeting to listen in on. I'm sorry I can't talk so early in the morning sometimes, but I'm definitely here and participating as much as I can. I'm very interested to see how these hypotheses will shake out as well. And I will see what I can do as far as continuing research on the 10 remaining competitor analysis and such. And I think that's just about it. I did post something in Riot about FinCEN now saying that all stable coins are going to need to do KYC and stuff, and anybody that uses them as well. So just kind of keep that nonsense on the like mental horizon, because there's no way to enforce it, but they could use it to just come down on people regardless. And that's all I got.
Damn. Now crypto is getting boring also.
Yeah, it's like we're destroying the thing that we sought to, we're enabling the thing that we sought to destroy in the first place.
Yeah, so thank you for the call. Great, it's so cool to put energy into Giveth too. I'm a bit thrown back because I only clicked now on everyone can fund, and yeah, why not just ask us? I mean, it's not like yeah, it's funny. But what can you do? You can try to be better, and that's what we will do. And yeah, so homework is set. I'll do this hypothesis on how we can be crypty and integrate with another system that is fiat on the outside. Have an idea. And so thank you, Max, for always holding it together here, and everybody for coming. And thanks.
Thanks. Ciao, ciao.
See ya. Bye.